Hello everyone and welcome to Blue Raider Extra Point. I'm Dylan Simmons alongside Ryan Martinelich and Matt Hayden. We're coming to you live from the MTN Sports Den. It's time to get this Tuesday night rolling from Studio 2. Let's kick it off with Matt with this week's Around the CUSA.
With a handful of event conference games completed, we have seen some rise to the occasion and thrive, while others struggle to get it going. Our first matchup this week takes us to Jacksonville, Alabama to see the Liberty Flames take on the Jax State Gamecocks. These two teams sit atop of the standings in the CUSA and could give us a show for the ages for the 2023 season. The Flames' high-flying offense, led by senior quarterback Kadeon Salter, have a tall task as Jax State's defense has allowed the least amount of points in the conference at 17.5. But the Flames' defense is no joke either, as they sit right behind the Gamecocks with a defense that allows only 18 points per game. So this can potentially be a preview of a likely CUSA championship matchup later in the year. As for our next matchup, for Wednesday night, we see the Sam Houston Bearcats take on the New Mexico State Aggies. The Bearcats show promise as they nearly upset the Liberty Flames on the road. Their defense ranks third in points per game in the conference, and their offense has slowly got it going after their terrible start. But the Aggies once again are up right behind the Cats in points per game on defense, but their offense has been top-notch all season long. The factor here is Aggies quarterback Diego Pavia, who leads the team not only in rushing yards, while also leading the conference in passing yards. Adam cleaning up the turnovers, he is a huge factor on who will win this game. Can the Bearcats contain Pavia and force him to make mistakes, or will Pavia step up and defend his home turf? So again, it's going to be a very big matchup here. It's between these two teams, a potential CUSA championship with Jax State and Liberty, but also, with New Mexico State and Sam Houston, you could see a big defensive battle. Maybe the Bearcats get an upset there potentially if they are able to hold Pavia in check for the whole game.
And Liberty being a 7-point favorite on the road is actually interesting too. I think that's going to be a great matchup to watch. I really do think both defenses are going to show out in that matchup tonight.
Absolutely, two top defenses there in Jax State and Liberty, so it's going to be interesting to see later on tonight.
Definitely going to be a fun one. Can't wait to see how all of it shakes out. Some great weekday CUSA action. Guys, thank you for that, and thank you for that preview, Matt. Now let's move ahead and check out some of the great CUSA matchups that we will have this week. Thanks, guys. We review this past week's Blue Raider action when we come back, and we also hear from our Blue Raider Spotlight with an incredible story that is nothing short of inspiring. That's coming up next on Blue Raider Extra Point.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are back here with Blue Raider Extra Point. And Dylan, how about you talk to us about this week's Big Blue Review?
All right, thank you, Ryan. For this week's Big Blue Review, we have the volleyball team burying the Bearcats like The Undertaker and soccer styling against Sam Houston. Let's get right into it. Starting off, Middle Tennessee Volleyball swept aside Sam Houston this past weekend. The Blue Raiders hosted the Bearcats on Saturday and Sunday and had no issue establishing their ground. Middle first took out Sam Houston in straight sets on Saturday, with Kayla Henley leading the team with 8 kills and Kaylee Oscarson delivering 7 blocks. On Sunday, MT was cleaning up like Dawn on dirty dishes with 3 more straight sets on the Bearcats. Avery Rhoda had a special Sunday with a team leading 11 kills and was backed up by the history-making Kaylee Oscarson, who reached 100 career solo blocks. The Blue Raiders now move to 5-3 in CUSA play and 13-6 overall as they look ahead to the future. Middle next plays Louisiana Tech on Friday and Saturday for a CUSA Road Series. You can catch those games at 6 p.m. on Friday and 1 p.m. on Saturday. Soccer was not as lucky against Sam Houston in their Sunday showdown at home. The Blue Raiders hosted Sam Houston for the first time ever at Dean A. Hayes Track and Soccer Stadium. Things got off to an en-fuego start as the Blue Raiders wasted no time scoring as Ellie Goff struck for a 1-0 lead early on. Sam Houston then struck back with 2 consecutive goals to take a 2-1 lead by the 58th minute in the match. Elizabeth Slavinsky then added a penalty kick goal of her own to make it a 2-2 tie in the 68th minute. However, a final goal by the Bearcats ended the match more suddenly than Toys R Us, as Sam Houston came away with a 3-2 win. Somewhat lost in the hoopla was the legendary achievement by Caroline Manley, who has now got the most minutes played in Blue Raiders soccer history. Middle Tennessee now has a chance to redeem themselves this Thursday night as they face UTEP in their penultimate home match of the season. That's our Big Blue Review for the week, and I'll tell you what, guys, the Blue Raiders were absolutely lighting up their opponents like a Christmas tree this past weekend, and it was certainly awesome to see.
Now, the volleyball team, I had first-hand account of that team, and they looked impressive.
Absolutely. I was on the call with them for that Saturday game, and it was just their offense was clicking on all cylinders. It was, great defense alongside it. It was just an overall great performance for MT that day.
Absolutely. Love to see that, guys. Well, moving on, I'm very honored to present this one. Janae Edmondson is someone who embodies what it means to be perseverant, determined, and undeniable. When life tried to keep her down, she got up with full force and conviction. I'm beyond honored to have this week's Blue Raider Spotlight with the one and only Janae Edmondson.
I grew up in Antioch, Tennessee, then moved like 2 or 3 years ago to Smyrna. And I played volleyball, basketball, and softball.
When you look at someone like Janae, you think about everything that she's been through, and you look at her attitude. She has the most phenomenal attitude for someone who has faced what she has faced at such an early age.
With all of our managers, we have a pretty high expectation, pretty high standard for them. Janae's role is to track certain aspects of the opposing team's offense and defense. And many times that in the heat of the battle, our stats aren't available, and I'll ask Janae, hey, what are they doing? And she'll give me feedback, and that helps us to make the right decisions.
If you're having a bad day and you're maybe feeling sorry for yourself because you're not liking the way you're playing, or you didn't pass your calculus test, all you got to do is look right over there at Janae, and she's out there in every drill helping the team. She's right on the bench keeping stats. She's in the huddle helping them make decisions, offering up advice to the coaching staff, helping her teammates. And I think she's truly a difference in the cohesiveness of our team this year. I think she's kind of that glue that holds us all together.
But I think just her personality as a whole We have a lot of unique characters on our team, and she just kind of adds to it.
They welcome me with open arms. Everyone's amazing. They treat me like I'm a sister. And even Chuck and Taylor and Jenna, they treat me like I'm like one of their own.
If there is one thing that you could tell people who have had their lives changed by circumstances outside of their control, if you could talk to them today, what would it be?
To keep pushing. Don't let nothing hold you back.
Don't let anything hold you back at the end of the day. That's
Yep.
Thanks, Dylan. You know, it was a really powerful package there because, you know, coming from Smyrna, you know, also graduating from Smyrna High, you know, she was 2 grades below me for my senior year, and she was, you know, a big spotlight on the volleyball team, and, you know, that just hit close to home for me because that's, you know, someone I went to school with, just a great person overall, and huge congratulations to her, you know, for getting the opportunity, and huge props to Coach Crawford and the volleyball team for giving her the opportunity and giving that scholarship to, you know, fulfill her dream still in a different role than, you know, she expected, but still, overall, great story there, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. And Matt, it was such a powerful story and a unique opportunity to have, and something I'm never going to forget. So I want to make sure to thank a lot of great people. There's a lot of people to thank. Honored to have worked on this package. I want to send a big thank you to Emma Brown, Bob Gordon, and the Media Arts crew for allowing me to work on it. Great opportunity. All right, we got to take another quick TV timeout. When we return, Ryan will dissect this team like a high school lab experiment, and we will have our keys to succeed. We will be right back on Blue Raider Extra Point.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Welcome back to Blue Raider Extra Point. Let's now send it over to Ryan Martinelich, who has this week's scouting report.
Try some rubber out, something to get someone open. Here's Reed. And over there, it's Jackson traffic for Malachi Corley. Pass now. You try to get the ball up in the air. Little hitch and go. They fire wide open in the end zone.
Well, these Louisiana Tech Bulldogs are coming in tonight's matchup 3-4 on the season following a home loss against WKU, and will certainly be looking to get back to 500 on this season. Head coach Sonny Cumbie is bringing another air raid offensive philosophy into Murfreesboro, similar to what the Blue Raiders have already seen with the Hilltoppers, Colorado State, and their own offensive identity. Since senior transfer quarterback Hank Bachmeyer has been out with a shoulder injury, sophomore Jack Turner has been leading the offense behind center. In his first 3 starts, Turner has thrown for 700 yards, thrown for 3 touchdowns, and rushed for another. However, accuracy has been an issue for the sophomore as he has only completed under 58% and has thrown 4 interceptions on the season. To complement this offensive identity, redshirt senior Smoke Harris has been the prominent wide receiver in the Bulldogs' core. Harris has brought in 48 receptions on the year for nearly 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. His 48 receptions are 2.5 times that of the next on the list, sophomore Cyrus Allen, who has brought in 19 passes. Harris also is a threat in the return game as he averages 11 yards per punt return and has already run back 1 against UTEP. In the backfield with Turner is junior running back Tyree Shelton, who has rushed for 436 yards in the season to go with 5 rushing touchdowns. Shelton has rushed for over 100 yards in each of the last 3 games, including last week's against WKU, where he ran for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, Tech brings in 4 of the top 10 leading tacklers in CUSA, including senior linebacker and Akron transfer Jeslord Boateng and senior defensive backs Miles Hurd and Cecil Singleton Jr. This is a defense that swarms to the ball and will be a massive threat to MTSU when the Blue Raiders will be on offense. And it just goes to show you that Louisiana Tech, though sitting at 3-4, still has a stout defense, an offense that is going to bring a lot of concerns to the Blue Raiders, especially with Trey Fluellen being out for the first half with that targeting last week.
Yeah, you talked about Trey Fluellen not being there. That's a huge impact for this Blue Raiders team. He's kind of the leader of this Blue Raider defense, and with all those things you just mentioned about Louisiana Tech, makes things all the harder for the Blue Raiders. But let's get more into that because it's now time for our keys to succeed. So let's get things rolling. Matt, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so my first one is got to keep your foot on the gas. It looked like they were playing to not lose last week, and you got to keep that foot on the gas. You got to keep attacking. You got to be aggressive. Number 2, get the run game going. The Bulldogs defense is very high on allowing rushing yards for the season, so really get that ground game going. But also third is tighten up that defense. With Trey Fluellen being out for the first half, you really got to have a strong defense here, and the defense has been the Achilles heel of the Blue Raiders teams for the last couple of weeks. They really need to tighten up on there.
All right, Ryan, you're next up.
Obviously, I mentioned Smoke Harris is going to be difficult to stop, so you have to find ways to stop the smoke. He's going to be a tremendous issue on the special team side, and you got to be finding ways to put 2 guys on him to cover him at all times. Create running lanes. We have struggled to run the ball. The Blue Raiders have struggled to run the ball all season, and for a defense like Louisiana Tech's that actually is last in CUSA in rushing yards per game at 212 yards per game, that's how much they give up.
Yeah.
You got to find ways to create lanes for Jalen Credle and Frank Peason. And obviously avoid second half slumps because this team at home hasn't found a significant strategy to continue on in the second half. We have seen too many 3-and-outs from this team, too many blown opportunities in the red zone. The Blue Raiders are going to have to find a way to continue whatever strategy working in the first half, move on into the second half, try to win a game for the first time at Johnny Red Floyd since Murray State.
Yeah, they definitely need to do all of that and more. So for mine, I'm going to kind of piggyback off that and start it off with the Turnover Bakery is out of business for Middle Tennessee. That's what I want to see because the Turnover Bakery has been alive and well in Murfreesboro as of late. The Raiders have been making more turnovers than Panera Bread. I mean, they had 4 turnovers in the second half in the last game. Nick Vattiato already has 6 interceptions this year. If the Raiders are going to win tonight and in the future, they have to cut back on these mistakes, and they will continue to cost the team wins if they don't. Now, Louisiana Tech has already forced 9 fumbles, and they have 6 interceptions, so this is going to have to be fixed. Second key, take the smoke out of the fire, kind of piggybacking off of yours as well, because Smoke Harris is going to absolutely, well, burn the Raiders, I think, unless they can cover him correctly. Now, obviously, with Trey Fluellen being out, that's going to add a new dimension to it. He already has 485 yards this year. You've got to find a way to limit him. And then thirdly, put the Bulldogs on a leash. MT needs to play a complete and total game, really for the first time this entire season. We've seen halves, we've seen spurts, but we haven't seen a full, complete game. I want to see the defense and the offense both at the tip-top best level. That is what's going to take to win tonight, in my opinion. Those have been our keys to succeed, everybody. So now we're going to move on to our next segment, but that'll be in just a bit because we're going to have to go to a quick break here on Blue Raider Extra Point. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with our picks for the week.
Son, love is like the ocean. You have to tread the
Oh,
waters.
Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Jessica, will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Once there was a boy who did the same thing again and again. One day, he was told he had autism. He got help and slowly learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
For our picks of the week. Let's get right into it. So first up, we're going to be starting off with Mr. Matt Hayden. He'll get us going with Liberty Flames and Jacksonville State in a matchup that could decide a spot in the CUSA championship game.
Yeah, that's going to start out. This is the game of the week. Without a doubt, this is the game of the week. It's going to be potentially a Conference USA championship matchup right here in October. And I really think this could be a big prove-me game for Jacksonville State. You know, the line sits at 7.5, which I think is a bit much. Honestly, I think I think Jacksonville could easily cover that. You know, Rich Rodriguez has really turned that program around and, you know, really put them up on the map, you know, with their first season here in CUSA in the FBS. And so, you know what? I love the underdogs. I really think the Jacksonville State Gamecocks really have a chance to win, and it all comes out to, can they stop Kedion Salter? He's been unbelievable at the quarterback position, and I really think that Jacksonville State and Rich Rodriguez can actually do it and get a big win, prove me win here. So give me Jacksonville State for this one.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because this is a Jacksonville State team that's coming in after coming back against MT, down 16.5, rattling off 38 straight points unanswered and winning by 15 in the end. This is a team that has a tremendous defense that can put a lot of pressure on you. They lead the CUSA in sacks. However, Liberty leads CUSA in forced turnovers. So this is going to be a huge defensive battle. And yes, who can get to Kedion Salter first on Jacksonville State's side? That's going to determine if they can get any kind of keep this game as close as they can. They got to run the game. They got to run the ball. Malik Jackson is going to be huge, but I do like Liberty in a close one. I do like Liberty, but in a very close one. I give it like 2 points.
Yeah, you know, I think this one's going to be a shootout. To me, it comes down to who has the more dynamic offense in this game. Now, to borrow from what others have said in the past, Liberty is playing with their heads on fire because they are playing some very inspired football as of late. You got Salter, 1,176 yards. Don't want to shortchange him. 12 touchdowns. And not to mention, you've got Quentin Cooley, 426 rushing yards. He adds a huge dimension to that offense. And Jacksonville State, an incredible rushing attack. We saw that firsthand last week right here in Murfreesboro. Whether it's Logan Smothers or another quarterback or Malik Jackson, they have those guys that can make an entirely new dimension. To me, it comes down to who has that clutch gene late. Who's going to pull away in the fourth quarter? Remember, it is in Jacksonville. That adds a whole new dimension to this game. But I think Liberty's going to find a way. Give me the Flames, 31-24, close one, right down to the wire. Next up, we've got UTEP versus FIU.
So this is a game where I feel like it could be a little bit of a slugfest. It's not going to be very high scoring. I feel like, you know, the UTEP's defense, you know, highlighted by Tyrese Knight out linebacker, can really prove dividend here. If he's able to, you know, he led the conference in tackles, you know, was up there earlier on in the season, just unstoppable on defense. The FIU running game with Shamari Lawrence and Keyshawn Owens, it's going to be really, really interesting to see. So if the UTEP Miners can buckle down and stop the run game, I think the Panthers are going to be in a whole lot of trouble. And I really like the UTEP Miners defense, so I'm really going to go with the Miners here. I just think they're able to control that run game from the Panthers, and I think they can easily, you know, get a big win here.
You know, both teams are just trying to stop the bleeding. You know, Miners are coming in on the 4-game losing streak. The Panthers are on a 2-game losing streak.
Yes.
Panthers are at home. I like a home advantage here, especially in Miami. I'm going to go ahead and say Miami wins this time. Florida International, they're not going to, if they have a lead, they're not going to run the ball, they'll run the clock out. They're going to take a knee. Give me Florida International at home.
You had to go there, yeah. Maybe at least one Miami team can win this week. Here's what I'm going to say. To be honest, I think both teams have been a little bit lesser this season, kind of a down year for both sides, but they have been getting better. UTEP does, though, only have one win over FCS Incarnate Word, and their QB situation is a lot like the kid from Home Alone. It's completely lost. No offense to Gavin Hardison, but he's got to clean up the mistakes. He's got 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's not going to cut it. Now, FIU is getting better. You got Keon Jenkins and Chris Mitchell. Mitchell already has over 500 yards total, so he's a very good wide receiver, playing some great offense. But that defense, though, it's got some issues. They need a lot of work in recognizing offensive schemes. To me, this comes down to who executes consistently. And I think with it being in Miami, it's going to be FIU. Give me the Panthers. They move to 4-3 by a final score of 34-24. All right, Sam Houston versus New Mexico State now.
Well, I guess I'm going to be the odd man out for 2 of the games, so let's see what I'm for the third one on the slate. So Sam Houston, again, has been very lackluster on offense, but their defense has been a huge bright spot. I mean, they were, allowing barely over, 14 points, and they're leading the conference with only 17.5 average per game. But as for New Mexico State, their offense has been top-notch.
Yes.
I mean, both in the passing game and the rushing game, they both rank in the top half of the conference. And I really think that Diego Pavia is going to buckle down, especially with that home field advantage. Pavia has been cleaning up the turnovers and has been overall just a driving factor. He leads the team in rushing, so give me the Aggies here.
Yeah, Sam Houston has finally found an offensive identity that works. Keegan Shoemaker is finally finding receivers he can hit. He's been more accurate. He's been more confident. The defense has been tremendous all season. It's finally having an offense that can back them up. However, they're still an 0-5 team. They're still trying to find themselves in CUSA. Mexico State's 3-3 at home. I do agree. Pavia is going to be the difference maker here. Give me the Aggies.
Yeah, I think this one is all about Diego Pavia. Go, Diego, go. All 60 minutes of this game are going to come down to Diego Pavia. New Mexico State is reaping the rewards of a dual-threat quarterback. He has already 12 passing touchdowns and 314 rushing yards. Some insane stuff. If he is limited, though, then this whole team is going to suffer. Now, Sam Houston is a team that's a lot better than their 0-5 record shows, but the problem has been all year in getting the offense going. They're only averaging 241 yards per game. That's not going to cut it. I think New Mexico State has the overall advantage. I think that New Mexico State is going to get the win. But last but not least, guys, let's move on. Middle Tennessee takes on Louisiana Tech here tonight in Murfreesboro. Matt, we'll start with you.
All right, again, another game that could be very interesting. La Tech has been a little spotty here and there, a question at quarterback, but Turner's really turned around, filling in the shoes for Bachmeier. But I think Middle Tennessee, really buckles down here. I really think their defense tightens up, and I really think they can get that run game going, get the home crowd behind them. Give me the Blue Raiders.
Middle Tennessee was favored last week by 3 points against Jacksonville State. That didn't work out very well. Middle Tennessee is favored by 3 points again against Louisiana Tech tonight. It's not going to work out well. Give me the Bulldogs.
Oh my gosh. So going against Middle Tennessee again, but here's what I will say. Louisiana Tech is a team that has had their good moments, they've had their bad moments, but Middle Tennessee has been going to a bit of a slug lately, 1-5. However, I think this is going to be the game when they put it all together. Middle Tennessee is going to find their way. They're going to prove the doubters wrong. And the Blue Raiders will leave Louisiana Tech with some sour grapes on the table for everyone to see, courtesy of our friends at the pod. Make sure to watch that out. But that's all I got to say, Matt. It's up to you now.
Well, clearly I was, the only one to pick Jacksonville State, and I was the only one to pick FIU. So it's interesting to see. Hopefully the graphics, go in my favor at the end of the night. But before we go, make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can find us on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can also go, check out all of our, packages. We'll also be on the MTN Sports YouTube channel. And then, obviously we got a big game going ahead of us.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching today. Well, that's going to do it for now. We'll be back as soon as we can be, but make sure to tune over in CBS Sports Network. We'll send it up to the guys in the booth in just a minute. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to eat those sour grapes tonight, and we will see you next time on Blue Raider Extra Point.